This is just too good not to watch. It's just too good. I can't help it. I gotta relight my cigar. Stupid lighter. My gosh, I gotta get this thing to freaking light. I'm so excited about this. So right now, I think it's the final vote for Kevin McCarthy. I anticipate. I'll just do it the old way. I swallowed a bit. I couldn't help it. Because I want to see this. I want to see this go down. I got
Before
CNN
Congressman
playing right now.
Rogers almost punched Mac
The
Jones.
only
CNN
two
won't
people
even play.
who did not vote present or for McCarthy would be Good, Bob Good, and Matt Rosendale at this point.
Let's see.
Yeah, assuming everybody votes.
So of the holdouts,
Yeah, assuming
we're
everybody
waiting for two
going
holdouts.
forward
Yeah.
votes on this 15th ballot the way they did in the 14th.
Jeffries.
This vote will
It's-
end with
it's,
Kevin
it's
McCarthy as Speaker
crazy.
of the House.
Biggs has not voted present before. That's significant.
Yeah,
and that
that's right.
comes after that call with Trump. I'm not saying that
Biggs
that is
and Crane
The,
both changed.
the
to
reality is
present.
this 3 present, that's enough.
Let's see if this works now.
Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. Dela Cruz.
I wonder if I can do a screen capture.
McCarthy. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries. DeLuzio. Jeffries. Dusaunier. Jeffries. Desjardins. McCarthy. D'Esposito. McCarthy.
Nope, it won't do a window capture
Diaz
either.
Balart. McCarthy. Dingle. Jeffries. Doggett. Jeffries. Donalds. McCarthy. Duarte. Diaz Balart. McCarthy. McCarthy.
No. I just
Duncan.
want to see somebody that's.
McCarthy. Dunn of Florida. McCarthy. Edwards. McCarthy. Elsie. McCarthy. Emmer.
Very curious how this goes. Right now we got 57, 50, 51.
McCarthy.
57 Jeffries, 51 McCarthy.
Escobar. Jeffries. Eshu. Jeffries. Espaillat.
Actually, I'll play CNN's audio.
I think the point
Escobar.
that you just made and others have made is that this
While they're doing
is,
it.
Jeffries.
writ large, a vision of
Eshu.
what we're going to see possibly going forward for the next 2 years in a very
Espaillat.
chaotic
And it has
Congress.
I don't know, doing it.
Huge
I don't know, Sam.
consequences for
Not
the
sure. Hey,
nation,
Freebird,
but
good to see you.
As we just
Donald Graham, good to see you.
settle on this moment, we are watching
Jeffries.
the history being made because I believe on this 15th ballot, Kevin McCarthy will finally
McCarthy.
secure enough votes, whether it's through
Ballot.
people voting present or people switching their votes to him to actually become the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
McCarthy.
On the 15th ballot,
Lindstrom.
there have been other votes
Gerald.
that have gone to
Ferguson.
more ballots, but those were
McCarthy.
all before the Civil War.
Winstead.
So
All
we're
of them
at
in
Gerald
the,
right now.
1800s. It has not happened. It has not been this ugly since the 1800s.
Fitzgerald.
And it's interesting, obviously, I don't
McCarthy.
think that we are now in a
Fitzpatrick.
period like the Civil War or the years leading up to the Civil War, but we are in an ugly period of politics. And I think that is one of the things being
McCarthy.
reflected in this
Fletcher.
ugly vote.
We're a deeply
It's
divided country.
amazing.
Just 2 years
Steve
ago, we
Spence,
had
sorry,
an
I just had
insurrection
to.
at the Capitol.
Look, this happens
I mean,
once in 100 years.
I think a lot of people would have thought that was probably as close as
So, I
you would-
mean, for something that happens once in 100 years, I thought this was pretty freaking awesome. So I'm pretty glued to it.
And here we are. I mean, it's not a surprise to me that this is what's happening on the Republican.
Matt Gaetz is coming up in a few votes. Let's listen in.
I don't care.
McCarthy.
I don't care, Donald Graham.
Frost, Jeffries, Fry, McCarthy,
2 more.
Hey, Papa
Culture.
Bear. Just
McCarthy,
curious
There it
about
is.
here. I'll say this: if you vote,
Gates,
you're in politics.
Present.
Just so you know.
Present. So,
If you don't like politics, get over it. You're in politics because these are the people you voted for. You need to be involved in it. It's fascinating to see
Gallagher.
how it works.
McCarthy,
The Gates vote
Gallego.
actually doesn't change anything in the sense that it only took
Jeffries.
3. As long as everybody else votes
Garamendi.
for a candidate by name, the margin is now 216, which is what Kevin McCarthy
Barbarino.
got on the last vote.
right.
McCarthy.
And it is interesting when we
Mike
saw
Garcia.
Gates and McCarthy speaking,
McCarthy.
when McCarthy's frown
Robert
turned upside
Garcia.
down, and then he ran and tried to stop the motion to adjourn. What
Garcia
exactly
of
did Gates
Illinois.
say? Did he say, we can deliver another
Garcia
vote of
of
present, we
Texas.
can deliver 2 more votes of present? I don't know,
Jeffries.
but it was conveyed to
Jimenez.
Kevin McCarthy, we can
McCarthy.
actually give you your margin of victory
Golden
one way or
of Maine.
another in this next vote.
And you saw that rare flash of anger from
Very,
Kevin
very
McCarthy.
fascinating.
And then, of course, now he's back to
Jeff-
Very, very fascinating. I mean, I think. Look, if you think you're not in politics, get over it. People should be able to talk about politics, no problem. I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's taboo. I think it's healthy. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. And nobody has to agree with me. I don't give a damn. Like, if you vote, you're in politics. If you care about the country, you're in politics. That's not negotiable.
But
Ranger,
it's a point without a difference. It's a distinction without a difference. Like,
McCarthy.
what Gates conveyed was whatever is going to happen
Graves
in the
of
next bout, you're going to
Louisiana.
win. We're going to deliver the votes
McCarthy.
one way or another, even if it's
Graves of
present
Missouri.
votes.
And there's our Chiron.
McCarthy.
It's finally changed after
Green,
15
McCarthy
votes.
appears on track to win speakership.
appears on track to win
McCarthy.
instead of appears headed for failure for 15th.
Green of Texas.
But it is remarkable. 5 present votes. He sure could have used those yesterday.
But they all, this is going into this. I think it was David Urban in New York was saying, and you were saying, that on the first go round of this evening, the 14th
I'm
vote,
watching the
the
politics.
thought was maybe that the
They're 81,
holdouts
McCarthy
would hold
75.
hands and all vote
Jeffries.
present together
And now
to
they're-
lower the threshold. That
Green
didn't
of
happen.
Georgia.
It's happening now.
And it makes sense too. I mean, for them to all at this point jump together, especially because now they are, in theory, going to have to work with Speaker of the House.
I'm
in
live
Kevin
actually.
McCarthy, who, he may have,
No, you're
have
fine.
given a lot away here in this negotiation with them, but at the end of the day, he still is going to wield more power as Speaker than he's ever wielded in a
No, it's
conference
not your bad at
before.
all.
And how he's going to figure out how to use it is going to be a real test.
I hope it's worth it.
I also think it's interesting that a number of these individuals, including Matt Gaetz, have spent the last
I love it.
several
It's
months
true
in
politics.
earnest in
These
the last week
freaking
or two
guys
talking
need to
about
go at it.
how
I
they
want
can't trust
I
Kevin
want
McCarthy
senators and
and how he is not
politicians
one
and
of
everybody
these
to
working
freaking go at it. I don't want stuff
And
just
now there are
passed.
relying
willy-nilly.
upon deals that he has apparently made with a handshake, given that most of the pilots he's made, we're told,
Yeah, somebody did change his
were made
vote.
that way and not in
It was
the
Matt
rules
Gaetz,
package
who's a
that is
never
gonna come
never
up for a
McCarthy,
vote
which is amazing.
after he wins the speakership, which it
Jeffries.
certainly looks he's on
I
track
guess
to
there's
do.
one lingering.
There still seem to be some hard feelings. Melanie Zanona has some reporting that Tom Emmer was walking in the aisles telling people on the floor not to clap when Matt Gaetz or Laura Boebert, when they announced their votes for president. When Biggs
McCarthy.
changed his
Nope.
vote to president, you heard applause.
won't.
When
No, it's just
I
Good.
guess it was good.
Yeah.
YouTube
Frank,
TV won't
but-
capture it.
they're not so happy.
Well, it's entirely possible that Matt Gaetz told them he was going to vote yes and then realized that he didn't need to after Crane and
So I
Biggs
can't
had
really-
voted
I
present,
can't
that he
stream it.
could still. And by the way, he is on record saying to
Jeffries.
somebody that he would rather be waterboarded
Not
by
logged
Liz
in.
Cheney than vote
Well, it
for
doesn't
Kevin
matter.
McCarthy
Well,
for Speaker.
and you know, we've danced around this a little bit because, you know, I don't, obviously no one wants to get over their skis for the reporting in terms of
95,
how people
85.
feel about Matt Gaetz and the Republican conference. But now we have it on video and in still photos, which is Mike Rogers literally lunging at the man, having to be physically restrained. And he is not the only one who I think feels that way about Matt Gaetz inside the Republican conference. I mean, the view of the emotion on display right there is just kind of a remarkable snapshot. And I think really also, you know, this is not a conference that is driven by policy differences or disagreements. This is personal.
Well, I mean, people have
deeply
said it on our air that the perception of Matt Gaetz is that he spends more time on cable
Very
television
fascinated by this.
talking and
Wanna
raising
try one
money
other way of
than
doing it.
doing other things. I mean, that we don't have to. It's people have said it publicly, and I think that the reality of all of this is that this has been a show for Matt Gaetz. He has wanted to prove a point, and yeah, he's proved a point, but at what cost?
To your point, Abby, about raising money, we see him all over the place, you know, being on TV. At 10:42:58 tonight, he did a fundraising email off of not voting for Kevin McCarthy.
I think that's the fourth
course.
one today, I think. I've got at least three, and I haven't looked at.
Johnson of Louisiana.
But the question is at what cost? Because you mentioned
Johnson of Ohio.
the mistrust, distrust, it's
McCarthy.
actually a lot stronger than that, runs both.
Oh, shit. Whoops. Hit the wrong button. Yeah, that won't do it either. Shit. I gotta sign into, I gotta sign into yours so I can hear it. Hey, Chip, good to see you. Just watching some politics because I'm very, very fascinated by it.
Before the government takes control of the C-SPAN cameras
Capture.
once again, which they sadly soon will do.
Oh, wow.
The big question, of course, is the promises that Kevin
Kane of
McCarthy
New
made.
Jersey.
Who is he going to put on the Rules
McCarthy.
Committee? What are they going to do? What are they going to prevent from coming to the
Keeney.
floor of the House? What chaos will be
Jeffries.
wreaked? And
of
of course,
Illinois.
as John pointed out, 2 years after
Kelly
the
of Mississippi.
hideous attack on the Capitol,
McCarthy.
we have the images now
Kelly of
of
Pennsylvania.
Donald Trump calling QAnon supporter
McCarthy.
Marjorie Taylor Greene
Khanna.
and rallying various conspiracy theorists to
Jeffries.
flip their vote one way or the
Higgins
other
of
so
Virginia.
Kevin McCarthy can be elected speaker. He's not
McCarthy.
doing this out of the goodness of his
Kildee.
heart. He's not doing this because he cares about Republican unity. He's doing this for some other reasons that we will learn later, Aaron.
McCarthy.
Absolutely.
So
And I will
fascinated by
say,
it.
David,
Kilmer.
just watching this
Jeffries.
happen, this was
Kim of
amazing.
California.
This having this, you have all of a sudden this sort of rush by McCarthy and Gates down, and all of a sudden the votes change, and we're not going to adjourn, and we're going to stay in. So then we all know
Yeah,
something's
it's went
gonna
back
happen.
and
then you
forth.
start
The-
seeing
Gates-
it. You know,
Gates
Biggs
is
flips
flipped.
and Crane flips, and
Jeffries.
Gates does not go to
Custer.
McCarthy but flips to present. So you get these,
Jeffries.
and then you had it
Custer.
after Elijah Crane, but.
And even some of
McCarthy.
these pictures we were just looking at, right? The AP
McCarthy.
photos of
McCarthy.
you know, Rogers being physically restrained. The photo of Marjorie Taylor Greene with Donald Trump on the phone and Rosendale waving it off, like
Give
I
it,
don't wanna-
talk
I
to the
don't wanna-
hand. The hand is up in the air, you know, like.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was a
this
guy
stuff's
that got
amazing. You couldn't-
ripped
if you
off
wrote a
off the
script like this,
screen.
people would not believe it, right? It's advice and consent meets like reality television. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, yeah. Admittedly, this was one of the better nights of C-SPAN that we've seen. But you know, if this were a trailer for the new Republican majority, I don't want to see the
Larson,
film.
Washington.
Okay, this was
Well, they tried to
unthinkable
adjourn
and
till
embarrassing
Monday.
and
And-
a failure of
Flat out.
leadership.
And McCarthy had
you
a-
know, an
had a
example
talk
of
with
treachery.
Gates
and yes,
and then,
the
like,
stars
flagged
of
to
it
not do it.
were the people who were most closely associated with the events of last January 6th.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing about this that
There we go.
should make people feel good. Kevin McCarthy obviously feels good because he's realized his lifelong ambition, but at what cost?
Well, look, you will see the film, and it's going to be called Knives Out, and we will be subjected to it for the
we
next
go.
2 years. Look, Kevin McCarthy this is a moment of high drama. I mean, the fact he run to stop the adjournment.
I mean, but that's
That's
just,
an
and it's
amazing
just
thing.
in that moment to be able to witness the high drama, and it's no small thing, as Jake points
Dude, they
out,
almost
the
came to
camera control
blows
is gonna be
on the
lost,
floor.
right? The government's going to, but that we got to see this, as ugly as it is.
Just remember,
We
you
got
got
to
to see
see.
something
We did,
that
and
didn't
that's
happen in
history
100
in
years.
motion.
Politics is history in the present tense, and perhaps never as much as tonight in terms of seeing the drama and the arm twisting.
with
and
the
vote
emphasis on tense.
But yeah, exactly.
All right,
but look,
five
you know,
present,
Kevin
which
McCarthy
was more
also
than the
has proven
last
that
one.
You can indeed win by losing. You know, 15 votes in. This
Shoot.
may be the high
We'll
moment.
see.
You know, because again, you know,
That's
careful what you wish
amazing.
for. You're speaker now, but this is an indication of how difficult it's going to be to govern. We don't know what he gave to Matt Gaetz to switch that vote yet. We haven't seen the list of all the concessions.
I love
but
the
we
fact
know
that the
nation
Republicans
already,
think
one
it's
thing
a
you can
positive
predict
that
is
in a
the nation
downturn
reality
economy
force
that
will
they're
be
going to
dead.
look any
I mean,
they're
a
going
lot
to
of
look
basic
good
things are gonna
and
be
win any
difficult to get
seats in the
done in
next
anything
election.
resembling a
It's
bipartisan
mind-boggling.
It's going to also be interesting, John, now in the caucus, right?
Lucas.
How are people going to trust each other in
McCarthy.
the Republican caucus, right?
Luke
Are people,
Kamaya.
if somebody said, well, I gave you my word,
McCarthy.
that used to mean something, right?
Yeah.
After tonight, I question, Rosendale,
McCarthy.
who could ever trust Rosendale? If he's
Latrell.
planning on running for the Senate in Montana, if I was an opponent, I'd say
Crazy.
the guy's lied. We've
Rosendale is,
watched
of
him.
course, the one
We've
who
watched him lie.
we
You know, I
understood
think
was
government in
president
general,
and
Sam,
voted
needs
for
to go
Gates
through
in
this.
that
I
crucial
don't know
round.
why
raised the issue
anything
of-
gets
of
passed. I
trust
mean,
and
people
camaraderie
can't
inside of
complain about
conference.
things
It's
getting
dawned on
passed
me this week that
so quickly.
yes, all these
Omnibus
people are
bills, whatever it
Republicans, but
is,
some of
people
these
cannot
people
complain
essentially have declared
about
themselves to be a third party.
garbage
They don't
pork
really want
bills
to
getting
be
passed
part
if nobody
of the
wants to talk about it
larger
or get
Republican Party.
involved.
They want to operate.
If you don't want to
as
talk about
independent operators
politics,
who can
fine.
create chaos for the
Go
Republicans
for it.
or maybe
Don't
the Democrats
bitch
whenever they
about
see
the
fit.
things
Now,
that
McCarthy's
happen
in a
then.
coalition with them right now.
Right.
But to your point,
My
John,
opinion.
the rules may allow them to blow up that coalition at any given time.
McCarthy
So
himself is about to vote here, so
yeah,
Jeffries.
this is it's just a weak party
McCarthy.
structure.
yeah, let's.
McCarthy.
You know, can I just pause on your point about trust, though? Because the American public and a lot of people watching don't have a lot of trust in a lot of politicians. And
Yeah.
they think that a lot of the business is kind of saying whatever you need to say to get what you want and not being honest. But what you're pointing out is that when you came to that room and you made an agreement, or I'm going to do something, or I'm going to have my vote for you. That's what these whips are for. That's why they know when they have a vote count. And what happened
McCarthy.
tonight is somebody lied.
Yeah, well,
Somebody lied directly to Kevin McCarthy or to
Emmer,
Pat
Tom
Maverick
Emmer,
and-
or Patrick.
and Murphy.
And if you believed in the team, if you believe politics is a team sport,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't lie. So that's why I say these
Just
people
think
are
it's politics.
functioning
They all
almost as a
freaking
third
lie.
party because who would you
Yeah,
lie
open
to?
discourse
The other team.
has to
But-
happen.
But that
I mean,
Rosendale-
wait,
spoilers.
just-
Spoilers.
Donald Trump was president of the United States. Okay,
I'm gonna
He was the
crank them
leader
down
of
a
the
little bit.
Republican Party. He still apparently is the leader of part of the Republican Party. His whole candidacy and his
Yeah, I
whole
mean, it's the thing is, like, do I
was
feel bad
predicated
one bit
on
that people
tearing
brought
down
their kids?
institutions
Like, here's the
and
thing: politicians
slurring
have gotten
rules
so damn
and
soft
ignoring these kind of
that they're like,
verities that
"Oh,
you're
let me bring my
talking
kids
about."
to my
So there are
inauguration. Let me bring." It's a
consequences
freaking
to that.
show.
These
It's
are his
garbage.
disciples
This
starring
is
in
what
this
needs to
drama.
happen.
This is
They,
his legacy.
nobody should ever want to bring their kids again to one of these things because of the simple fact you're here to do a job. Who brings their kids to work except for kids to work day? Get over it. You're a politician. You serve the people. I don't give a damn about your inconvenience.
That about Donald Trump. It was a point about Donald Trump. To David's point, the other David's point, we do need to give Trump credit. I mean, Urban made the point that many of the members of this chamber owe their seats to Donald Trump. That is very true.
I don't care who
And
owes
we
their
have
seat
said
to
he didn't have
whatever.
much to do with
That
what is
doesn't
happening.
bother me
He
one
had
bit.
a lot to do to Axe's point, David versus David. He had a lot to do, not just with the people.
The
who are
five
in
presents
the
are going to be a
chamber, but
going to be a
also-
problem.
And the idea of tearing
Maybe.
down our institutions.
This
the lack
should-
of
this should
reverence
work,
for
though.
Our institutions. Not to mention, I suspect what we are going to see over the next days.
Look, we can all
weeks,
disagree
months,
and agree on certain
as
politics.
we see this
That doesn't
kind
change the
of,
people. Because I'll tell you right now, all of those people, whether they're Democrat or Republicans, all freaking hang out with each other. So then what's the problem?
Margaret, it's also, the way that this evening was anticipated to go, such that anyone anticipated anything, was that he was
I
gonna
would
get
agree
the
with
vote when
some
he said he had
age
the vote.
limits, but
You
it
don't
just
go until
depends.
You have it and put out a picture like Jake showed.
I think he's
Here's
got
our
it, Steve.
picture
I'm not
without
sure.
having it. And then he's going to get sworn in, and everyone's going to get sworn in, and he's going to give his speech, and the rules are going to get.
432.
And now there's not Margaret anticipation. I don't know.
But the
We'll
thing
see,
is,
but that would happen because you've got
like
the
for me,
moderates who are looking
like
through that saying, "Wait a minute,
I'm good with certain term limits. I'm good with certain age groups, but I do think there's value in wisdom. You don't want a bunch of 30-year-olds or 28-year-olds sitting in there, and there's no wisdom on the other end. Because that young group is not going to have any wisdom to understand, hey, this was already done before. Whoops. So I think there's a healthy combination.
I have a little item here. I have an item here because Dave Urban joked that after the Rogers confrontation with Gates, well, whatever's going to happen for Gates, it's not going to be on the House Armed Services Committee. Well, guess what?
But if you don't care about politics in your country, we are unlike any other country. Every other country gives a damn about their country and their politics.
Personnel subcommittee on the House Armed Services.
That'll be awkward. That'll be an awkward, kind of.
And not just when it's World Cup
It
time.
may not be true, although it seems like it's a pretty solid rumor. Obviously,
This idea that there's certain boundaries you can't talk about, come on. If children can talk about some of these issues and be okay to say what the hell they say. Grown-ass adults can talk about this stuff. Everybody can deal with it.
Maybe that's a promise. We'll see. If
we'll
it's
see.
true, yeah.
You know, I mean, we'll find out about all of this stuff in the next few weeks.
Oh,
Maybe
get
they
him.
will have
Shoot him,
somebody
Sam.
to actually read the rules, which is part of the contents.
Well, it's 55 pages. I just want to be clear. It's 55 pages, the rules document that we got.
So, but you know,
Huge.
give people time to see what deals were cut, what rules are in place. But I got to say, look, I mean, McCarthy's been trying to triangulate this party.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is,
I mean, literally, they brought their kids to this. I mean, this is like literally like fun time for these people. No more. Every vote should not be by proxy. Get everybody's ass on the floor to debate and discuss. Tired of that.
2022 was not a mandate for the
I'm not concerned with what the bill is as much as I'm concerned with the discourse between both parties. What the hell is the point of the parties if they're not going to talk about something?
It would be more moderate, not less. It would be more focused on
215 is a magic number now, down 5. Yeah, I see it. It was 217 before.
What do you mean?
Because part of the problem here is that you always are pointing out, and I think correctly,
And people that don't think this is politics, this is real politics.
for moderates to be rewarded by the moderate majority of their electorate because there are closed partisan primaries, because of this sort of rigged system of redistricting. Hate to
It could go lower, Steve.
So
No
how
joke.
are these moderates going
Yeah,
to
make them earn that freaking pay, Sam. Like, how many freaking millionaires are coming out of the U.S. government and Congress and the House of Representatives? Kiss my ass. Get there and work. If you brought your kids to work, I'm sorry. That's your fault they're uncomfortable.
I understand this has already been decided, but I'm still very curious to see because our understanding was that was perhaps he was the traitor that messed this whole thing up. Unclear, but it.
They need to be earning their pay.
Present and voted
They make 6 figures when they go in there. The average American doesn't freaking make 6 figures. You want to talk about the elites? They're all sitting in that room.
Consider getting a room. I
What?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm
Yeah.
picking up a vibe.
That's okay though because Jeffries doesn't have the votes regardless.
Yeah.
So even the threshold is still. So that's why Steve was saying the threshold's 215 and Jeffries doesn't have that.
McCarthy.
I think he gets 212.
Rosendale.
There's Jim Jordan.
Ross.
That was anticlimactic.
Good. Look, if you work in the House of Representatives or you work in the Senate, I want your ass tired. I want you exhausted from working super hard for the American people. What's wrong with that? Does anybody have a problem with that? Oh, I know that one guy. He's from Kentucky, the one with glasses. I can't remember his name. He's the one. He bought like one of the first Teslas and lives off the grid in Kentucky. He's a fascinating guy.
Is there anything you can do to?
But who cares? I mean, he apparently he's looking like he's going to run for the Senate. That's what
Chat, you let me know. Y'all have a problem with making their asses get to work and actually working?
Who cares? You go back to
Who cares about politics? Tell me if you just care if they work. I want them to work.
That'll be his campaign.
I don't want them to be excited to go hold the trophy of being in the Senate or House of Representatives. I want them to be like, "Whew, this is freaking grueling. I'd rather do jury duty." That's what I want them to say.
Politicians in Washington.
Screw this mess about them
Trust is really
wanting
important.
to
Remember one of the
bring
many
their
things
kids
that
to
Kevin
their
McCarthy said to us
inauguration
earlier
and
today was that
celebrate.
This is just part of them learning how to work together.
You're supposed to be a servant. What
Now, if this
servants
is what
celebrate?
what them learning how to work together looks like, we are really in for something.
Kiss
that
my
looks
ass.
like-
There
and
will
it's
be no
hard to
bleep button
believe.
tonight.
I mean, we know that, frankly, from some of the reporting, that throughout this process, not only has there been a
I got headphones over here if you
that
want to hear,
they
because
have
I'm
been
listening
ground
to
down. They are
CNN while I'm.
tired. They are bitter. They are, and so how
If you
will
wanna
they
listen to
ever
it.
be able to come back together
You tell me, chat.
and
You
work
want their
together,
asses to work or
which
not?
I'm just going to throw you a little small bone, John Avalon, which is to say that is the opening for the moderate middle. To say, you know, while there is this
Come under-
fracture, are they going to step up? Will they find places to work with Democrats on some of the
There's a
legislation,
tangle.
perhaps
It's a
even
hot
on
man.
rules package?
Hey, do
you
I
know,
have
to
the
be-
money for the
In the earliest version
arcade
of this
tomorrow?
movie, Let's Not Forget, John Boehner and Paul Ryan's speakership. At the end of the day, when there were government shutdowns and other things, the only way anything
the
got
money for the
done
arcade
was
tomorrow?
Republican leadership working with moderate Democrats or sometimes
Whoops,
all
sorry about
Democrats
that.
to stop deadlocks. We're going to see more of that, but that's not a way to run a country. It doesn't represent the electorate.
I'll take care of it one way or another.
I'm gonna try and get out early.
To help facilitate.
Or have the power to do
I'll take
Right,
care of it,
and we
I'm
don't
paying really
know
to get
whether
back.
Kevin
All I know is
McCarthy will
if
have
anybody's
the
listened to any freaking news network and they're sitting there talking about, oh, what a shame this is. Oh, what a shame this is. No, the shame is that every time Jeffrey stands up, huh?
In a close partisan primary, which is what I was saying. This is why McCarthy.
Every time
and
Jeffrey
leadership,
stands up,
whether it's McCarthy on
Democrats
his
are
face or
saying
as
unanimous. I am tired of hearing
this all the time,
unanimous.
as you well know. You know,
Unanimous
somehow
is
mysteriously,
garbage.
Katie Britt got the
If you're
nomination now
unanimous,
instead of these two other
you're a
women
party liner.
who would have
You're no
probably
good
lost
to
this
the
seat.
American
You
people. The
have
American
to
people
be-
didn't
you
vote
have
you
to
in to
have
be a
an eye
party
on who
liner.
the
They voted you to
nominees are
be
gonna and to
representing
look the shape of the
them and their
conference is gonna look
individual
like. However,
ideals.
to your point, Republicans could have done more
One of the
to
things,
prevent.
and one of the things we
Don't-
understand, right, that he gave up was McCarthy's
Huh?
leadership act is not going to play an open
Right,
primaries and
right.
safety. That's
Correct.
exactly what you're talking
Right.
about.
And they
That
gave
was
it
part
up.
of what they gave up.
You're
Right.
suggesting that
I want to go to the arcade. Same here, Sam. Trying to build the arcade over here because you know what? Times are going to get tough and we're going to have arcade
What I'm
days.
saying is, you and I both know
clean
that
out the
Kevin
garage,
McCarthy,
put a
whether
pool
his
table
name
on
is
it,
on it or not,
Ooh,
will
6
help
present.
shape
Oh, flip back to
the
5
candidates
present.
Who win the primaries in those races, whether his name is on the door or not.
Amazing.
He couldn't
No,
even
but-
shape his own
Well,
vote.
maybe he couldn't.
Oh,
He's
McCarthy's
not
getting
but
pissed.
just
I love
referred
it.
My friend on the other side of the aisle,
He's
to
a
the other
douche.
House in the chamber.
They're all
and
douches.
this
I don't
does a
care.
very good job of
No,
this,
but
as you well know.
McConnell,
He's a major
his
shower.
affiliates never campaign against members of his own
No,
conference.
but oh, really?
Name
It's
one.
just a
Name one.
mystery.
They
No,
They
no, no,
don't.
no, no. They
This
don't
is the
put-
discipline of it. They
Ethan
don't.
Suggs, I couldn't agree with you more.
honorable guy, and they don't. They do.
Oh, guys.
Their asses should be in there
Independent forces.
working so hard, sweating. Turn the air conditioner off. I'll tell you right now, you know, you want to get some real debate done and get shit done. Turn the air conditioner off. Turn the heater off. Let their asses sweat and freeze a little bit and watch them actually work shit out.
Never on it, but don't you think some of these leaders and some of these have preferences?
Margaret, I think that one of the things that the House Freedom Caucus people believe is that McCarthy has in some ways moved against them. That was precisely why.
No doubt, Brett, because here's the reality. They're all getting filthy rich in there.
Because he took credit for Chuck Edwards.
What do we think?
He probably is, Steve. But I think Jim Jordan's more valuable on the what is it? The Judicial Committee. Because Jim Jordan's the one that brings up actually good questions and things like that.
Does he just go, oh, well, I finally got it. Let's just
Matt
forget about all
Gates
that?
is a
Is he
tool.
chastened?
Laura
Is he-
Boebert's a
does it change
tool.
his psyche?
I mean, psychologically.
No, shaking your head.
I mean, but psychologically though, I mean, it's like a hit dog. Every time somebody raises a newspaper.
Now, if they
they're gonna
plan the
flush
whole
every
thing and they're
vote.
playing 4D chess, sure, go for it. Good job.
Like you pointed out,
But what a great job to do something
that's
historic.
a long time to rebuild if you ever do.
Well, that's the bigger part, right? Not just.
And this is history. This is truly history. This will be the first time anybody that you know has ever seen this.
So stunned that there's lying. That's like being, there's stunned, there's gambling and
Freaking Haley's
This
Comet
is-
moment.
Unfortunately. I mean, yes, character is the thing that's supposed to count. Most people should. The word is their bond, but this
That's
is the
right,
party
Sam.
downstream from Donald Trump, where the litmus test was buying to an election lie. You're going to get more lies.
You're not getting more lies. People have to freaking work for stuff.
I guess
Shut
not
up.
in this case,
God, I
just
hate
hope better. Maybe I'm
news
naive,
people.
right? I hoped that somebody.
better too.
I hoped in a situation like this where the world is watching, right? And you walk down and you say to Kevin McCarthy, you say
The
to
world's
Emmers,
watching. Shut
"You got
up.
my
Have you
word,
ever
I'm
seen
40 on this
Parliament in the
one."
UK?
And then you
They
don't do it.
freaking yell at each other all the
That's a whole level of
time.
despicable
Well, that's
that I've
looking
not
an
seen.
individual
Shut up.
person
Right, I mean,
in the eye.
It's
and lying to
different.
them
Yeah, it
personally.
is really, I think, it's just a whole nother level. And,
Not that they care necessarily too, but the real losers, when you're someone in a conference like this who loses the trust of your leaders and your
Are you talking about
the
Paul
losers are the
Ryan? Was it Paul Ryan?
of the
I think it was.
betrayers, because
Yeah, he didn't
they
even want
lose
it, I don't think.
influence. So if you're
That's what I was asking about Rosendale.
All right, here we go. Countdown's coming. Here we go.
But do you really? But do you lose influence given the slim margins that we're talking about? And again, I think this is the
Yeah,
calculation of
Gates-
so many of these, the 4, the 5, the 6.
The fact that he
we've been
flipped,
talking
he's a
about, that is
showboat.
the calculation
I at
that
least
they
can have respect for
actually made.
Boebert,
They
even if
won't
she's a
provide
moron
this
too,
time and
that
time again.
at least she held out for what she
They're
believed in. Gates is flipped.
They didn't get
That
the
means this
majority
was
they should
all
have
show.
had given the nature
But
of the
that's
year,
okay.
because
Sometimes
there
that's
were
politics.
A lot of independent voters, a lot of Americans who did
Paul
not
Ryan, yep.
trust
That's what I
them,
thought you were, man.
who did not think they could keep the
Oh, hey,
extremists
there's
at
Miss.
bay.
Make him uncomfortable.
This will only
Sit your
accelerate
ass down,
that
lady.
view. I think that Republicans are really, really harming themselves.
She's like, hey, how do you use this cricket
I
phone?
mean, a
Shut
rational
up.
response to this election result
I need to
would
send
be
something out there to
chasing the
tell people to
Republican Party
make
that's
other
trying to
politicians
show that it can be
uncomfortable.
responsible and reach out and not simply be dominated by its most extreme wing. But the exact opposite has played out all week. It is kryptonite to independents and those centrist Republicans, many of them, who voted against Republicans this time around to send just that message.
But John, that assumes you have rational.
Yeah, I look. I mean, like, I'm not against him
The whole
as a politician because I think he fits right in. But you know, I've never really liked him.
Right, they had principles.
I'm not gonna say never really. I just have never liked him. I'm not gonna say really. It's just I've never liked him.
Let's show we can govern. Let's do these things, right?
But I'm okay with what he did. But you know, have a pair of cojones and stand by it. Make them freaking go into recess. Make them go till Monday. I don't care. Make it go on for weeks. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Huh?
The incentive structure that's the problem.
And they don't really care about the health, John, of the overall Republican Party. Like they don't wake up in the morning thinking we need a strong party. They don't.
All right, 2:15.
Jake, here we are. There we are.
2:15.
All right, there you go.
Oh.
Congratulations.
So that is it. He has reached
The speaker.
Yep.
He has reached the margin.
There it is.
215 margin, with 5 members voting present.
Remember, history.
The threshold goes down. From
Be in
218 to
politics. If somebody doesn't want to talk about politics, why? Why don't you want to talk
And
about
we
it?
have there
What reason do you have not to talk about
Congressman Kevin
politics?
McCarthy,
Oh, I get uncomfortable, or we get upset at each other.
Republican
So what? We get upset at each other about all
to the
kinds of
House
crap.
Representatives in 2006.
Get over it. Actually,
He's
get to
been
know somebody, because you want to know what? If you know
serving
somebody's
as a leader
politics,
since then.
you really know them as a person. Just so
He
you
wins
know.
on the
You really know what they give a damn about.
Becoming
Just
the
so you
55th
know.
55th person to serve as
What you're
Speaker
trying to
of
say,
the
but I
US
don't want to
House
talk
of
about politics, is I really don't want to know the other
15 hours.
person.
This is
That's
the
what you're talking
longest
about.
process in 164 years, and the only time that it has lasted this long since the U.S. Civil War. McCarthy won ugly. He
Yeah,
won by
Sam,
making
I get that, and I
concessions
have a lot of problems with a
concessions.
lot of people that
He
way
won
too,
in a
and I
process
have a
that
standard
was
on that
at
kind of stuff
times
too.
chaotic and angry and once
At the same
almost
time, I also
downright
believe in
violent, but
grace,
the
and I also
key
believe in
word
forgiveness, and I
in
think
this
that
sentence
you
is
know
the word
we should have imperfect people there
Kevin
because
McCarthy
maybe they make
is
change.
now
I don't think that
of the House.
there are good and
It
bad
is
people. I think there are
history.
people that make
It
good
is
and
maybe
bad
history
choices.
For the wrong reasons for some folks, but it
And
is
there's some
history.
people that really like making bad choices, and some people that really like making good choices.
You know, one of his allies was texting me as it was going back and forth and back and forth.
About
and we saw
time.
the drama. And
New speaker.
this person just said, keep your eye on the ball for him. And the ball is winning. And the ball is this moment. And the ball is becoming Speaker of the House. And the roller coaster obviously was
They got one more than he needed. 216.
quite tumultuous tonight. But think about the journey that he took and that he put himself on, particularly through the Trump years, in order to get to this moment.
Done deal.
Indeed, and you know, I think
Don't shy
the other
away
thing
from
I'm
politics.
flashing back to is
Screw
what
that
Kevin
mess.
McCarthy has been
I
saying
don't
to
even
voters,
agree
which is
with
it's
that
not how you
premise to
start,
shy
how you
away from
finish.
politics.
Frankly, the night is finishing the way that they expected, but it did
That's
not
like
go
saying,
the way that
shy
they
away from.
expected
How
to
many
walk
times
out.
have people gotten massive arguments just over the damn sports team they like?
This is
And
2
we
years
still find a way to be
since
friends.
January 6th,
Come
and
on,
what was
shut up.
going
Talk
on
about politics. Screw that
in
mess.
the House that day, and how many of these members were election deniers or voted to stop the peaceful transfer of power? We just have to know.
Including the
Including
Speaker of the House, the new Speaker of the House.
The names of the
She had the best ice
who did
cream.
not answer the first call
No lie
of the
there.
roll.
I think they were waiting for. I think there was one Democrat that was out.
It's slightly delayed. I'm going to slow
Vicente
down.
Gonzalez. Jeffries.
That's 212 for Jeffries, and we're still waiting for Rosendale.
Rosendale. Vicente Gonzalez. Jeffries.
That's 212 for Jeffries, and we're still waiting for Rosendale.
Rosendale.
I need to slow it down just a bit more.
Rosendale. Present.
There it is, present. So 6 present votes. All 6 of the rebels, the final holdouts, voted present, which lowered.
And ultimately that worked. I think now strategy of grind it out, a strategy of divide and conquer, and
Done deal.
ultimately that worked.
Got it done.
I think now, even at this hour,
You can hold your peace, but don't bitch when somebody when something happens that
the bigger picture
they
here
they
is that
say they're going to do
is
something that you don't
perhaps
like.
gonna be the
If you
weakest
hold your
speaker
peace, you
in
can.
modern history,
It's your right to do it.
beholden to a
But
very, very,
don't
very
do
small
not
portion of
complain.
his conference, a group of people who
Do not
as we saw
complain if
tonight,
things happen that
he
you don't
can't
like.
even really trust. So it's a.
They
I
all
think, a
talked about
bittersweet moment for
politics,
him
Brett,
because I
because
think
they
they're
gave a
gonna be,
damn about their
as everybody wakes
country
up tomorrow
that they were
morning,
building.
What is this speakership going to look like? What is this majority going to look like? And what is the
Thanks,
country
Papa
going to
Bear.
be going through over the next?
No, I'm
few
sorry I
months
kept you up.
as
What?
They have to.
I mean, like, you know,
what
the
did he
reality is,
promise?
and by the way,
We
Papa Bear
still
does great
don't
lives
know what the
every Friday
concessions
night.
were.
So check him out.
What was Matt Gaetz promised
Talk about it.
in the end?
You know,
And for his
here's the thing. Okay, I'm a pro
we're gonna be
2A-er.
finding this out not just in weeks, but
Okay.
down the road.
If you're not, we can
We were
talk
told at
about
the
why
beginning of
you
the
aren't
night,
and I
that
am.
The vote
And
on the
that
rules
doesn't
package
change
would
anything.
proceed after the vote on the speakership. This was at a time that
Just
we
stuff
thought it was
like
only
that.
going to go to 14 ballots and was going to conclude.
Be willing to talk. Be willing to have
an
discourse.
hour or so
It makes
ago, and
everybody
without
better.
anybody almost punching Matt Gaetz in the
When did we
face.
stop
But
having the tough
we are here
conversations?
now, and
When did we just
think
roll
we're
over and
being
say a group of
told
people could
that the
just
rules
decide
package
whatever
will be voted on
whatever they
Monday,
wanted, even if we didn't
and
agree
not
with
today.
it?
Is that
Well,
right, Dan?
if they decided it and we
believe
didn't
so.
say
I don't think
anything,
it's-
that's our fault.
Definitely decided yet. But before that happens, we haven't seen Kevin McCarthy actually get the gavel.
Right.
We haven't seen the members of Congress actually sworn in.
Right.
I like that.
We've been
Nice,
watching
Sam.
these series of 15 votes.
Yeah, Brett, I
including by
agree with you.
members elect, but they are still members elect even at this moment.
Get comfortable
They
with
have
being
not been
uncomfortable.
sworn in to officially become members of the House of Representatives.
Yeah. So there is still the official vote to be counted, to be called by the readers and by the clerk. And then, of course, the official swearing in of this Congress, after which we anticipate, although the good money's on not making any bets these days, we anticipate.
Yeah, they
that
look
there
happy
will be
now.
A motion to adjourn.
Lurker. I don't even have it on right now, Troy. You're here for free.
Yes, I anticipate that as well.
Just so
We
you
did
know.
see, Speaker McCarthy mouth the word "finally"
All
just
right,
a few minutes ago.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
But America is about to hear a lot more from this man who is now third in line to the presidency.
Take
Marjorie
selfies.
Taylor Greene
Oh, yep. She was quick to go
He
in
was
there.
one of those members that was.
kicked off committees.
Well,
Kicked
I-
off her committees not long ago because of violent rhetoric. Not long ago because of violent off committees.
Well,
Kicked
I-
off her committees not long ago because
Close
of
enough.
violent rhetoric that she had used against members of Congress, including Nancy Pelosi.
Violent
and
rhetoric?
all sorts of things.
You
she
mean
had
like-
said that were
Like
anti-Semitic
there's
and
going to
racist
become
and
a
on
like
and on.
what happened in
She
front
is
of the
going to be a
justices.
star
Come on,
Now
in the
don't
in
don't
the
try it,
party
guys.
lane, having stood by his side during the entire time, even while her fellow MAGA.
Yeah,
MAGA
Sam. I mean, that's
caucus
but they
members,
already do that, Sam.
caused lots of problems.
As soon as the cameras are off and they're out, they all hang out with each other. These are people that
He offered her a
do a
place on the
lot of
oversight committee.
show.
She supported him through and through this.
They're
She's
hugging
an
like
organization, she's
crazy
one of the
muffins.
liaisons helping facilitate the calls between former President Trump and members as that
I don't argue with any of the requirements that they had. People are like, oh, well, this is going to slow things down. Maybe that's probably a good thing.
You know, the side effect, one of the side effects of that picture that McCarthy went down and took with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, we were talking about in which order or who was helped that day.
Is 428, of which the Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California in 16.
All right. Congratulations, McCarthy.
The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212. With 6 recorded as present. Therefore, the Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives.
There you go. History. It's official. Put it in the books. Yeah, I mean, this got hot. This got really hot. People started to get violent. And you know what? Politics is violent. If you go back to the 1700s, 1800s, it was violent.
The clerk appoints the following committee to escort the Speaker-elect to the chair. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark. The gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Johnson. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu.
There goes Jeffries.
The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Delbini. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Clyburn. The gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer. The gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Neguse. The gentlewoman from Oklahoma, Mrs. Bice. The gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Escobar. The gentlewoman from Indiana, Mrs. Houching. The gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Underwood. The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Phillips. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. McHenry. The gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Kildee. The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry. The gentlewoman from California, Miss Barbara Lee. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Graves. The gentlewoman from Florida, Miss Wasserman Schultz. The gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Hill. The gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Cicilline.
Rhode Island.
The gentleman
Rhode
from
Island.
Texas, Mr. Roy. The gentlewoman from Virginia, Ms. Spanberger. The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds. The gentlewoman from California.
You know,
Ms.
Sam,
Jacobs.
like, I think the fact that
gentleman from
people,
North Carolina, Mr. Bishop.
I think the fact that people ignore
The gentlewoman
politics
from Texas, Ms. Crockett.
is like ignoring somebody that commits a crime.
and the members
You've
of
got
the
to
California
to face on what happens
Ms. Pelosi,
and people's choices, and you've
Ms.
got to
Waters,
decide where you're going to put your cards. Ultimately,
Eshoo,
that doesn't mean you can't be civil
Ms.
or even
Laughlin,
friends with people that have
Mr.
different
Sherman,
views. But you know what?
Mrs.
You got to also call people to the mat for
Mr.
choices that they
Thompson,
make.
Mr. Schiff, Ms. Sanchez, Mr. Issa, Mr. Costa, Ms. Matsui, Mr. McClintock,
Call people
Ms.
to the
Chu,
mat. It's okay.
Mr. Garamendi, Mr. Barra, Ms. Bronley, Mr. Cardenas,
Power slam them.
Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Lamalfa, Mr. Peters,
Oh, missed that name.
Mr. Ruiz, Mr. Swalwell, Mr. Takano, Mr. Vargas,
Call them to the mat.
Mr.
It's
Desani,
okay.
Mr. Torres, Mrs. Torres, Mr. Valadez,
You know, back in the day, people knew who everybody
Farragut,
voted for.
Mr.
Everybody knew that.
Carvajal,
And that what's even funnier is
Mr.
that
Correa,
more often than not, you know who most of the people you know voted for, but
Mr.
it's
Panetta,
taboo to say it.
Mr. Gomez,
I don't care.
Mr.
Why
Harder,
worry about why does that
Mr.
matter?
Levin, Ms. Porter, Mr. Mike Garcia,
You know, smoking table fire,
Mrs.
like
Kim,
I
Mr.
hope it changes
Obanowski,
hands regularly. I
Mrs.
hope it
Steele,
goes back and forth. That's
Mr.
democracy.
Dewar,
It needs to go
Mr.
that way.
Robert Garcia, Mr. Conlega Dove, Mr. Keeley, Mr. Mullen.
Did you just say everybody?
The committee
Hell,
will
I don't know.
retire from the chamber
Oh, okay, there we go.
to escort the speaker-elect to the
Pelosi
chair.
is hot, Troy. Troy, you have some fascinating taste
Wow.
in women.
Creepy old grandma.
He also thought your mom was hot.
Okay. Not really.
mean the phone, the DT phone?
So we're, the clerk just listed the names of the California delegation. Kevin McCarthy is from the delegation. And we are now expecting some of the formal procedures to go on. I saw one of the members of the California delegation,
I love it.
Katie Porter,
Get it done.
sitting in the audience reading a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
But yeah,
Another
this hasn't
member of
happened
the
in 100
California
years.
delegation by the name of Nancy Pelosi was walking by. That's going to be interesting. Although, you know, traditionally we have seen this moment.
I love it. I love it.
The
Get
leader
some.
of the opposition
But our
party
boss-
gives the
my boss said he
gavel.
was going to order a copy for
Well, and
all
they
of us.
called
Settle our
Hakeem
not giving a
Jeffries
fuck.
and
He
some
told
other
us we'll have
leaders
to
as
get
well.
better
to
at
be
not
part of
giving a
this.
fuck.
Right, and you know, Manu
I mean, I've
Raju
told
was
you
reporting
that.
earlier
Do you
that
have to keep saying
that
the
it's
F
gonna
word?
be Hakeem Jeffries.
My mic's not
Jeffries,
on?
obviously,
It's on.
He is
I'm just
the
kidding. This
leader
guy.
now, and it won't be.
I don't care. You're
It
fine.
won't be Pelosi. She's no longer the leader.
My wife's
I mean,
dropping the
some
F-bomb.
of those moments are kind of iconic. John Boehner crying when he gave her the gavel, and vice versa.
Well, and you know, that's actually such an interesting point because, you know, they're historically, and we've talked so much about this, but this is a small club, right, of people who've gotten a chance to be the Speaker of the House. And in the past, there has been some reverence. There have been, you know, relationships built between people who have served on, you know, from different parties. I mean, George W. Bush, you know, famously complimented Nancy Pelosi's grit.
Here
as
comes the
becoming
gavel.
first woman Speaker
I'll
of
let
the
y'all
House
watch
when
this
that
for a second.
unfolded.
I'll be
Those
here
moments
talking, but
are almost entirely gone from Washington now.
But I'm
which
gonna
I think
do,
is gonna be an
I'm gonna
interesting-
do-
It's going to be interesting to watch how this actually unfolds.
I'm gonna do uncouth
and
things.
how the relationships that seem to be, because, you know, quite frankly, the events of January 6th in
Amazing.
particular in the House of Representatives really broke.
Did
down
Boehner
the
cry?
Trust. We've talked a lot about trust inside the Republican Party, but I mean, there have been
Or
metal
a
detectors
United
outside of
shoe.
the House of
Did he have eye
Representatives
drops?
because
He
they're
probably had
concerned
eye
about
drops.
death threats, et cetera. So, I mean, this is a very different. I mean, you talk about these symbolic.
Let me tell you, they
moments
say
where
Orange
there's
Man
emotion
bad,
and
but
feeling
Boehner
and they're human
was
moments,
orange as
There's a
hell.
lot less of that. in
He was like the talking orange.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the Democrats.
can't believe
hold
Boehner
a lot of
cried.
the people across the aisle responsible for the attack on the Capitol, not least of whom is the new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, who participated in Donald Trump's lies and signed on to that crazy lawsuit trying to disenfranchise 5 or 6 states, and even after blood was shed. 2
Keep
years
talking
ago
about
today,
January
including the
6th.
blood of Officer
Nobody
Brian Sicknick,
cares. Nobody really,
voted to
really cares anymore
disenfranchise the
about
voters of
January
Pennsylvania and
6th.
Arizona based on those lies. And
This
what
is
they
this
have
is how much
witnessed
people
is
don't
Kevin
give a damn
McCarthy
about
not
politics. Is that
put
nobody
in
really
dates
cares
that
about
continue
January
to
6th
get
anymore. You got a
capitulate.
fringe group
We
that
still
cares
don't
and a
know
fringe group
what
on
Scott
both
Perry,
sides.
who was
I'd
one
like
of
to
the
see how
Then-
many of those
people who
got
was
higher
part
prison
of the
sentences
plot
than like child
to
molesters.
undermine the
Well, first
democracy,
off, I want to
what
know
he got
how many people
from
actually
this,
got
negotiation.
sentenced
They
with
continued to
the crime of
whitewash,
insurrection.
Try to have amnesia,
Yeah.
pick your term for it, deny what happened that day. They just don't want to acknowledge what happened that
Do you
day.
know how many Republicans went to the floor of the, I'm sorry, the stairs of the Capitol this morning? You know how many House Republicans? One. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, one. Maharaja, we're told you
I
have
love
some
it.
news.
Yeah, that's right. McCarthy giving reaction about some of the chaos. On the
And I
House
don't care about
floor.
anybody's politics in here. That's
Ken
not.
Marr, he came off
If
the
if
floor
you're
and he
if you're a
said,
Democrat, Republican,
"Glad
Independent, I
it's
don't give a
over." Now,
damn.
he also denied
And if you give a damn about me, it's okay.
a
That's
chairmanship
up to
of
you.
the subcommittee in exchange
But
for
I don't
that
care
vote
if you're a
of the
Republican,
president.
Democrat,
Said it would
or
be up to the
or
steering
independent.
committee, which is the committee that he is involved with, that essentially selects committee members to get those key committee
Or your
assignments.
personal views
Yet
on
the
stuff. You know what? It's
steering
your
committee
it's your
to give
deal.
such a
Those are
committee
your
assignment to
personal
Matt Gaetz. He
views.
said, did not promise
But by
that to
not
Matt
talking
Gaetz.
about
Quote,
them,
no one is
how do you know
promised
that you can't
anything. He said,
you
whatever
can't give
happens
somebody
is
information they
steering.
don't know? And how do you know you have all the information? You
Denied
don't.
making this offer to Matt Gaetz.
How many
We'll-
times do you
we'll
talk to
hopefully learn
somebody?
more about all the chaos on the
How many
floor.
times have you talked to somebody about anything? Cars, sports, whatever. And they're like, oh, I never knew that. Oh, man, could you imagine what it would be like with politics? Holy crap.
With Matt Gaetz, but also indicating he's relieved this is all coming to an end.
Yeah, I would note.
Oh, she taking
this is just
selfies?
some observation,
Sure shit
not
is.
from, any reporting, but
Take your
it
selfies,
did
girl.
look, though,
Go right ahead.
After Gates and
Send them to your cheating
McCarthy
husband.
made whatever
gosh.
conversation
It's
they made,
legit.
whatever
Her husband does.
whatever,
Huh?
Her husband did. Bobert.
had
Okay,
happened
I didn't know there was
where
all these people.
McCarthy ran to the front and tried to change his vote so there would not be a motion to adjourn, so they could go. on with
Probably,
the
Sam.
vote.
A little too much in the eye.
It did look to me as though Kevin McCarthy actually waited until Matt Gaetz actually cast his vote against adjournment before he cast his. And if I read that correctly, that would suggest he wanted to make sure Matt Gaetz went through with what he said.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely
Quite
did.
possible that Kevin McCarthy did not promise Matt Gaetz anything because he has let, for most of it, we saw the remarkable moments on the floor when he got directly involved himself tonight. But for most
Yeah, I
of
mean,
the
like, give me the insurrectionists, damn it. I want them.
and because
Show them out there so we can see what it looks like to have an insurrectionist. Because unless you charge them with insurrection, who's the insurrectionist?
Sparks, a Republican of Indiana, having a late night giggle.
Some guy would complain to me about Donald Trump. I'm like, charge his ass. Then go to court. And if he wins, shut up. If he loses, good. I'm glad he goes to jail. Who cares?
Vote after what we
God.
found out for those rounds and how that has all gone.
Given the fact that it was so important to them
Given-
to cast votes for Andy Biggs, even in the 14th ballot.
And Kevin Hearn,
Right.
I mean, what's there to argue at that point?
which is how Matt Rosendale did it before he voted president eventually.
If he breaks the law, I hope he goes to jail. Does anybody not think that about somebody that breaks the law, that they don't want him to go to jail?
Of course, he didn't have a ton of
Or whatever the hell the penalty is? Come on.
Here we are at 12:49 on Saturday, January 7th. And I do think it speaks
Nowhere
to
I'd
how
rather
well
be.
the president in the end,
You
though.
want to tell everybody who that is, Caitlin?
He's about to get sworn in and be
I thought that was Bobert that was sitting next to Matt Gaetz. I think it is.
the headlines.
Literally
quite a bit.
everything on his resume.
Well, now Congressman-elect will be on there, and I guess we all know that's true.
Having the time.
She's always wearing flashy stuff for her husband.
Whatever the truth is about how much Trump's
She's on the right.
mattered, the man he calls my Kevin will be Speaker of the House.
Second in line to the
he will have
presidency.
won the
Yep.
speakership 2 years to the day. We're in January 7th by the clock in Washington D.C. But the proceedings on January 6th, when they came back, also carried into the early morning hours of January 7th. So the historical. I'm gonna use
Oh,
the
that
term
poor
irony.
kid.
There's a better term for it.
Yeah. Should be in bed.
I don't know what.
Yeah, but his daddy was too proud of
Does he not
himself.
have a wife that can pick him up and take him to the hotel room or
And
their
in
house to go put him
2015,
in?
the last time he was supposed to be Speaker of the House, he lost the confidence of the
So
Republican
tired.
conference
So
by
tired.
admitting
Poor thing. That's so selfish.
that the
We got
reason
too many
that
prideful
President
people in
Benghazi
Washington.
and that crisis
Bobert's your
was
neighbor, Troy? I don't believe it.
to bring
She's too
down
young
Hillary
for you
Clinton's
anyways.
approval ratings, was to ruin her political reputation.
Is he the one I like
Now he
Pelosi?
has
Yeah.
control of the
he's like the reverse of what's his name?
current president.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
The oversight committee
They can only have 20 years left of life versus 21 years old.
That's what Congress is supposed to do. One wonders, will there be excesses?
Well, to answer
Oh, yikes, Sam.
concessions, that Chip Roy, who was one of the 20 Republican from Texas, said publicly.
I almost shot the
that,
beast.
Kevin McCarthy gave, which is a separate budget for investigations specifically.
There were going to be a lot of holes in that screen that I was going to have to explain on my security deposit.
Like you were saying, oversight is the constitutional duty of the United States Congress.
I love it. This is
But
how
the
this is
fact
how it
that
should be.
One of the demands of this group was more
If everybody's going to
money,
vote
more
unanimous
taxpayer
for Jeffries, tell me why. Tell me you agree with everything he stands for.
parts of the
Because
administration.
you know what? Your constituents might want to know that.
Well,
Just saying.
Several sitting members of the House Republican Conference are under investigation by the Justice Department. They now want to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I have heard from establishment Republicans very, very concerned that whatever this committee will be a vehicle, if it's abused, to obstruct justice.
Oh, a vehicle to be abused. Yeah?
Taking some
You
dangerous
think so? You think so? Not like a vehicle to censor like people's free speech on social media, right?
No.
Come on. Come on.
I think that
Come on,
while
CNN.
there's a
You're
lot
you're
of
better than that.
legitimate things that this
C-SPAN.
Republican Congress wants to look into, how money is spent,
Nobody's watching Baby Shark, Ron.
et cetera. There's no question that there is a clear political objective to a lot of the things that this small contingent of, let's say, 5 or 6 want. One of them is this committee that, my understanding is that the budget issue, they wanted it to be basically commiserate with what the January 6th committee had. And think about that. I mean, I think a lot of the concern in this group about the DOJ and about the FBI is frankly based on conspiracy. And it's
Is it conspiracy that the FBI and DOJ were working with Twitter to silence people? Shut up, lady. Shut up. You're talking out of your ass.
with the January 6th committee investigation.
This is the problem with corporate media.
Coup and insurrection on the Capitol, and then there's all the other stuff.
Just give me somebody charged with an insurrection. That's all I'm asking for.
Attempts to investigate the president.
There's no place on the planet that has more surveillance than Washington, D.C. Where's the bomber? Where's the person with the pipe bombs?
Is not on solid ground, but all of that is going to be.
Where's all the video of the pipe bomber?
Kevin McCarthy has basically said, "Go."
Where's that person?
And they'll do it.
And but one thing, when I talked to Biden officials about this, because they've been staffing up for this for months, because they thought it was going to be a much bigger majority, is they did raise the question at times of, are these going to be well-coordinated investigations? Are they going to come off as legitimate? I think the week that we've seen play out does not lend a ton of credibility. To
The reality is that Republicans didn't have a red wave, and McCarthy got what he wanted, which was a slim majority.
I think this is one thing that makes the White House.
And now he's paying for it because he knew with a slim majority, it was business as usual.
If I were the White House, I would feel less good about it because
He was more concerned with an overwhelming majority to be against him, so he couldn't get speaker. So he dealt with the smaller contingent. Don't think for a second that McCarthy is upset that there's not more Republican. Come on, he's not upset.
about doing things that are not within the bounds of any law, any
The guy with the horns, I know, right? He had to be an insurrectionist. Where's his charge? Not to mention, how many guys are still in like solitary confinement for that?
How many
This is all going to be playing out against the backdrop of a presidential
like all these
campaign,
people are left
which is
out and go
just
out on
going to
probation?
crank up
Yeah. All the
Just to
crazy
offend
ass
again.
criminals that do terrible things.
and
We got some guy with horns that sat in Nancy Pelosi's chair for a bit. Come on. And he's in solitary confinement and the other people are going out with no bail. Kiss my ass. No, I don't want to hear it. Steve, was he charged for being an insurrectionist? Popo, if I'm in your state, you got my vote. Yeah, that's who he was, the QAnon shaman. Was he charged with being an insurrectionist? Or did he get charged for taking terrible pictures in Pelosi's chair? Well, I mean, it can't be close, Steve. They're either insurrectionists or they're not. Otherwise, they need to stop calling them insurrectionists. I'm just over that part of it. That's why you lose people. If you call people something they're not, then you're losing the whole point. It's got to be that. I mean, you know what, Steve? So did a 60-something-year-old cancer patient. She also did some time. Really? That's your insurrectionist?
Whip Clark.
He should, because he broke the law.
The House Democratic Caucus and the House Republican Conference. It's my high honor and distinct privilege to finally be able to welcome all of you to the 118th Congress.
There's the 118th Congress. There you go. But I mean, you got a 60-something-year-old cancer patient grandmother doing prison time. Man, that's an intimidating ass insurrectionist, let me tell you. She scared the hell out of me. We might have lost the country because of her.
Let me just begin by thanking my good friend.
No, I know what you mean.
Aguilar
I know what you mean,
for
Steve. I'm just saying, like,
his
it's just
very generous words of introduction and for placing my name into nomination a total of 9 times.
If they break the law, they go
And
to jail
I
for
also
what they
want to
do.
thank my
I get
other
it.
colleagues from the Democratic Caucus for your
Makes sense,
generous
Sam.
words of nomination as well. Jim Clyburn, Catherine Clark, Ted Lieu, Dean Phillips, Joe Neguse, and Veronica Escobar.
What if
I also
Jeffries
wanna
just
thank
sat down in the chair?
My colleagues, my friends in the House Democratic Caucus for your perseverance, for your strength, for your friendship.
Probably, Steve. Probably.
For your unanimity of purpose, and for your unanimous support.
Your unanimous support. Give me a break.
And I simply want to say that that showing of strength is not for any one particular individual. It will be a showing of strength throughout the 118th Congress, unanimity of purpose on behalf of the American people. Before I proceed any further, let me begin by acknowledging the distinguished gentle lady from the great state of California, the iconic, the heroic, the legendary Speaker Emerita, Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi.
She wants to go to her house in Florida and be on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, all of them were election deniers. If you go back to 2016, come on. It's just a horse of a different color. That's not a racist joke, by the way, so I don't want anybody to accuse me of that.
Pelosi will go down in history as the greatest speaker of all time. Throughout her time in Congress, she's been a legendary legislator, a fabulous facilitator,
Legend.
and a
Wait for it.
no-nonsense negotiator. We know that Nancy Pelosi is a woman of faith,
She's super lucky, Brett.
a loving wife, a mother of 5, a grandmother of 9, a defender of democracy, a voice for the voiceless, and a powerful champion for the children, the climate, Charm City, California, the caucus, the Congress.
Oh yeah,
the
lockdown.
country,
She's walking around
and
getting her
the
hair done, no
Constitution.
mask.
Thank
Come
you, Madam
on.
Speaker, for all that
Come
you have done.
on.
Just like every other.
Come on. Let's be real. Let's be real about it all. Come on.
As well as the shoulders of the great Steny Hoyer and the great Jim
Hey, great speaker in her own mind.
two consequential leaders in their own right.
I mean, she knew how to get her party to vote. Party line.
Now, the scripture says in Galatians, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Over the last 2 years, House Democrats, in partnership with President Biden and our colleagues in the Senate, have been hard at work on behalf of the American people, getting big things done.
Yeah, like making
We passed the American Rescue Plan.
making the gauntlet
Saved
from
the
the
economy
Marvel
from a
movie.
deep recession.
Okay.
Put shots in arms, money in pockets, and kids back in school. We passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to create millions
The
of
Infrastructure Act.
good-paying jobs.
What about?
Fix our crumbling bridges, roads,
Please,
tunnels, our
please say the
airports,
Inflation Reduction
a
Act
sewer and
too.
water
Go
system,
for
our
it.
mass transportation systems, and ensure high-speed internet access in every
Lots,
single
Glenn. They all
community.
are. They all are paid lots to do this.
We passed gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years that will save lives and
Yeah,
make
yeah,
our communities
yeah,
safer.
yeah. You did, yeah. Like all those red
the
flag
Chips and
laws
Science
that did
Act
so much in the past
to bring
shootings,
domestic
right?
manufacturing jobs back
Come
home
on.
to the United States of America and ensure that our workforce has the skills to succeed.
He's
in the
he's given
21st
his
century economy.
farewell speech,
And we
Popo.
passed the Inflation Reduction Act to strike a dramatic blow against the climate crisis. set
Oh, he
our
did.
planet
Inflation
on a
Reduction Act.
sustainable
Yay!
trajectory
That thing
forward,
that's going to increase
lower energy
inflation.
costs, strengthen the Affordable Care Act, lower health care costs, and drive down the high price of life-saving
Steve, if you haven't watched this before, this is politics.
It was one of the most consequential Congresses in American history. President Biden gets the job done, and the D in Democrat stands for deliver.
Wait a minute. The geriatric guy that can't walk upstairs and like can't not say like dog whistle things. Recognizes people that are dead and asking where they're at. Come on. Give me a break.
Over the next 2 years, as we begin this 118th Congress, let us continue to fight for lower costs. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for better paying jobs. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for safer communities. Let us continue to fight in this Congress
He's
to
doing his
defend
promo.
democracy. Let us continue to fight in this Congress to put and protect the public interest. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for economic opportunity in every single zip
I
code,
love that
and let
idea,
us
but
continue to fight in
when
this
everybody's
Congress for
unanimous behind you,
reproductive freedom.
nobody's fighting. Nobody's fighting if your whole party is unanimously behind you. There is no fighting. So you're not fighting. You're rolling, as in over, and then doing what the whole group wants.
As Democrats, we do believe in a country for everyone.
I'm about to get some Waffle House. Damn it. I want some Waffle House now. So early in the morning.
We do believe in a country for everyone. A country that provides for the poor, works for working families, makes sense for the middle class, stands up for senior citizens, innovates in the inner city, strengthens suburban communities, helps out the heartland, and revitalizes rural America.
Okay, yeah. Except for the fact that
We
inner
believe in a
cities
country
are
with liberty and justice
terrifying to go
for
to.
all, equal protection under the law, free and fair elections, and yes, we believe in a country with the peaceful transfer of power.
Oh, okay. There we go. We got to hit that January 6th. Too bad it's the 7th. I mean, Ron, but this is this is their thing. This is their showboat. And it's not just them, it's Republicans too. They both do the exact same thing.
Diversity is a strength. It is not a weakness. An economic strength, a competitive strength, a cultural strength. Our diversity is a strength. It is not a weakness. We are a gorgeous mosaic of people from throughout the world.
Can only have
As
one
John
opinion.
Lewis would sometimes remind us on this floor, we may have come over on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. We are white, we are black, we are Latino, we are Asian, we are Native American, we are Christian, we are Jewish, we are Muslim,
We got
are
a speaker.
Hindu, we are
It's,
religious, we are secular, we are gay,
McCarthy.
we are straight, we are young, we are older, we are women, we are men, we are citizens, we are dreamers, out of many, we are one. That's what makes America a great country. And no matter what,
Did nobody give him the Cliff Note speech for the midnight vote?
we're not going to let anyone take that away from us, not now, not ever. This is the United States of America.
The SS Minnow. A 3-hour tour.
Opportunity. The fact that I'm able to stand up here today is another data point in that narrative. I was born in Brooklyn Hospital, raised in a working class neighborhood in Crown Heights, grew up in the Cornerstone
That's not who we got.
Baptist Church.
Ohio.
Started off in the
It's
Cradle
McCarthy.
Roll department.
I'll let you
Somehow
think that's who we're doomed for.
survived the violence of the crack cocaine epidemic and wound up here in the United States Congress as the highest ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives. America, truly a land of opportunity. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So on this first day, let us commit to the American dream, a dream that promises
How many people do you think are
that
actually
if you
watching
work
this?
hard and play by the rules,
Nobody.
you should be able to
Nobody.
provide a comfortable living
And shame on them
for
for not.
yourself and for your family. Educate your children, purchase a home, and one day
Oh,
retire.
purchase a home.
with grace
Who the hell
and
can
dignity.
afford a
Let us
home right
commit
now?
on this
You
first
moron.
day to lift up the American dream for every single person in this nation.
Hold on. Don't have kids. Can't buy a home because interest rates are ridiculous because inflation was, transitory. Come on.
I recognize that this is a moment of transition.
Probably, Brett.
As we transition from one Congress to the next, from one majority to the next.
I need some more
From a
beer.
year of accomplishment.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, I hit the wrong
A
one.
year of accomplishment to a year of ambiguity.
No, I got some beer.
A moment of transition. The American people, understandably after the events of this week, recognize that the Congress is at a fork in the road and are asking the question, what
McCarthy's waiting.
direction
Let's hear what
will we
McCarthy has
choose?
to say. Probably nothing really different.
On this first
It's
day,
Miller
I
time.
do not pretend to answer that question.
No,
on behalf
I've got a
of
beer.
my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. But we do extend
Yeah,
our
smoking
hand of
Kentucky Piper, they sure are.
to you.
Always remember,
And wanna make
a man
clear
that
that
gives
we
up freedom for security
and
deserves
intend
neither.
to try to find common ground whenever and wherever possible on behalf of the American people.
Sam, he should have a powerful speech, and I don't begrudge him that. But it's just
Not as Democrats, not as Republicans,
people gotta
not as
read between the
independents,
lines.
but as Americans. But I also want to make clear that we will never compromise our principles. House Democrats will always put American values
Sure.
over autocracy.
Sure.
benevolence over bigotry,
Yeah.
the Constitution over the cult,
Oh, yeah.
democracy over
Gun control
demagogues,
legislation.
economic opportunity over extremism,
Second Amendment.
freedom over fascism, governing over gaslighting.
Oh, no fascism.
Hopefulness over hatred,
Weaponizing the U.S. government to
inclusion
censor
over isolation,
Americans on social media.
justice
Okay.
over judicial overreach.
Oh,
knowledge
justice.
over
Gotcha.
kangaroo courts. Liberty over limitation. Maturity over Mar-a-Lago. Normalcy over
Ooh,
negativity.
here we go.
Opportunity over obstruction.
Here we go.
People over politics. Quality of life issues over QAnon. Reason
Oh.
over racism. Substance over slander. Triumph over tyranny. Understanding over
Did he just do a rap
voting
battle by
rights
himself?
Over voter
Yes.
suppression. Working families.
That's really what he
over
wanted
the
to do.
welfare
Glenn,
Xenio
Glenn's like, leave the
over
kangaroos out of it.
xenophobia. Yes, we
Kangaroos
over you
didn't do
can't
anything
do
to
it,
deserve this.
and zealous representation over zero-sum confrontation. We will always do the right thing by the American people. So let us not grow weary of doing good, for the American people will reap the benefit of the harvest.
You
if
mean
we do not give up.
you'll reap the
God
benefit
bless you,
of the
God
American
bless the House,
people?
and God bless the United States
And I'm not
of
just
America.
talking to him, but everybody in that room. Everybody in that room is reaping the benefit of Americans. Let's be clear. Let me be clear. Okay.
The Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, after a rousing speech, about to give the gavel to
It is now my solemn
Speaker Kevin
responsibility
McCarthy.
Not honor.
to hand over the
Yeah, not
people's
honor.
Not honor.
gavel
Responsibility.
to a son of Bakersfield, a former small business owner, a proud product of a firefighter's household, the gentleman from the great state of California, and the next Speaker of the 118th Congress, Kevin McCarthy.
Watch them shake hands. There's the hug, baby. There's the hug.
McCarthy is much taller than
They're going to have a steak dinner later.
In the history of this country, Kevin Owen McCarthy, first elected in 2006, finally elected on the 15th ballot here. Let's listen in to his first speech to the country as Speaker of the House. Second
You know,
in line
Brett,
to
there's a
the
lot of
presidency.
Dems that appreciate the USA. It's a different view, and everybody needs to come together and understand each other's views.
That was easy, huh?
I
Never thought we'd get up here. Thank you, Minority Leader Jeffries. Hakeem, I've got to warn you. 2 years ago, I
Is
got
he walking
100%
out?
of the vote.
No, he's going
for
to sit
my
down. There he
conference.
is. They're so buddy-buddy.
There's somebody else I want to thank. The gentlelady who served as our presiding officer this week, our clerk, Cheryl Johnson. Thank you. You know, my father always told me,
Did he?
it's not how you start,
Here
it's
we
how
go.
you finish.
Shut up.
And now we need to finish strong for the American people.
Yeah, no, duh, you need to, but
You know, if a son of a fireman and a grandchild of immigrants can rise to the highest position in the most important legislative body in our country, and if my colleague, Hakeem Jeffries, with his life story, can rise to lead his party, then opportunity and democracy still thrive in America.
No, I mean, he's kind of soaking it all in. I mean, he's doing the formalities. That's what they got to do.
To Leader Jeffries, there will be times we agree, and many times we will differ. I promise our debates will be passionate, but they will never be personal.
Of course not, because we're
my
buddies.
Commitment to you.
Oh, she couldn't decide. Oh, no, he couldn't decide. Oh, get up. No.
And now, the hard work begins. What we do here today, next week, next month, next year, will set the tone for everything that follows. Tonight, I want to talk directly to the American people.
Oh, here, let me let you do that. I'm gonna
As Speaker
do
of the House,
some
my
debauchery.
ultimate responsibility is
Y'all
not
watch.
to my party,
I'm glad I got the
my
audio synced.
conference, or even our Congress. My responsibility, our responsibility, is to our country.
We'll see. We'll see.
2 months ago, you voted for a new direction for our country.
Barely.
You embraced our commitment
Sort of.
to America.
Not really.
And now we're going to keep our commitment to you.
Only one way to take care of it. Nip it in the bud.
You're not going to It's a commitment for an economy that's strong. Where you could fill up your tank of gas and feed your
See
family.
you smoking Kentucky Piper.
Where paychecks grow and not shrink. It's a commitment for a nation that's safe, where communities are protected, law enforcement is respected, and criminals are prosecuted.
Here we go. See, now we're just on the opposite paradigm. Just a little spin.
A commitment for the future that's built on freedom, where children come first and are taught to dream big. Because in America,
Addict.
dreams
Totally
can still
is.
come true. A commitment for a government that is held accountable.
Sure
where
is.
Americans get the answers they want, need, and deserve. Our system is built on checks and balances.
Sort of.
It's time for us to be a check and provide some balance to the president's policies.
Ooh, the best thing about apples, you're gonna taste some floral infusions, and you're gonna taste some weird flavors. Some of
There's
them are
nothing
pretty
more
good.
important
Don't get me
than making
wrong.
it possible for American families to live and enjoy the lives they deserve. That is why we commit to stop wasteful Washington spending, to
We'll
lower
see.
the price of groceries, gas, cars, housing.
I'm glad,
and
Glenn.
stop the rising
Or Cloud
national
Bear.
debt. We pledge to cut the regulatory burden, lower energy costs for families, and create good-paying jobs for workers by unleashing reliable, abundant, American-made energy.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. What's his name from Virginia didn't get that in the omnibus bill. They walked that back on him.
I know the night is late, but when we come back,
Cloud Bear.
our very first bill will repeal the funding for 87,000 new IRS.
Okay, that's legit. We'll see. We'll see if he does it. I'm sure it'll pass the Senate. Somehow not.
You see, we believe government should be to help you, not go after you. We're going to pass bills to fix the nation's current challenges, from wide open southern borders to American last energy policies to woke indoctrination in our schools.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I believe it when I see it.
We'll also address America's long-term challenges, the debt, and the rise of the Chinese Communist Party. Congress must speak with one voice on both of these issues. This is why we will end wasteful Washington spending. From now on, if a federal bureaucrat wants to spend it, they will come before us to defend it.
Oh, is that the new tagline? To spend it, you got to defend it? Oh, here we go.
As for the Chinese Communist Party, we will create a bipartisan select committee on China to investigate how to bring back the hundreds of thousands of jobs that went to China, and then we will win this economic competition.
How are you going to do that? It's cheap labor. It's cheap labor. It's tax evasions. Not evasions, but it's just such bullshit.
Now, speaking of committees, we will hold the swamp accountable.
Oh, here we
From
go.
the withdrawal of Afghanistan to the origins of COVID and to the weaponization of the FBI.
We'll see.
Let me be very clear. We will use the power of the purse
Whoopsie.
and the power of the subpoena to get the job done. This is something we should all agree upon. We will stand up and speak out for the backbone of our economy, the hard-working taxpayer.
Let's see, where's that?
It's nighttime here in Washington. But in some ways, it's also like a new beginning, a fresh start. My friends, this is now fully open for all Americans to visit. I want to give all Americans a personal invitation. You are welcome to see this body at work. No longer will the doors be closed, but the debates will be open for you to witness what happens in the People's House. From the committee rooms to this floor, we commit to pursue the truth passionately and embrace debate. No more one-sided inquiries. Competing ideas will be put to the test in public so that the best ideas win.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see how you do it.
But we also pledge to bring Congress
You got that
to
right,
the people.
Steve.
Because answers have not and will not always be found in Washington. That's why one of our very first hearings will be held on the southern border.
God, if he blinks any slower, he might pass out. Somebody hit him with the damn gavel so he wakes up.
No more ignoring a crisis of safety and sovereignty. We must secure our border.
All right, let's see.
We must get America back on track. Now, on a personal note.
Yeah,
to my
when
family,
it's low-wage
here at
jobs. We got a bunch of people not
Judy,
working
Megan,
now.
Connor, Emily, my brother Mark, Monica, Zach, and yes, my mom Bert. I am where I am because you are who you are.
Well, not the 20-something-year-old with a very tailored beard, with the Amish beard going on. Well, they didn't get a lot of change in those votes there, Steve. So I'm not surprised. Might want to keep it toned down just a hair.
I'd also like to thank my constituents.
Bring back the previous fellow.
California Central Valley. Yes, and especially my hometown of Bakersfield. I don't know if you're familiar with music, but as Buck Owens sings, how many of you that sit and judge me have ever walked the streets of Bakersfield? Well, I've walked those streets my entire life. I know its people. They're hardworking and relentless, optimistic about our future. And I'm very honored to have the opportunity to represent them. I am a son of a firefighter. I saw firsthand what it means to have hard work, leadership, and service to others.
Yeah, lots of Botox.
Can change people's lives. And that is exactly why we are here today, to serve you, the people. We come here with the support of our families and the faith of our neighbors to be their voice in Washington.
Does this have to run this long?
For all the wives and husbands, children and parents,
The poor kids in the
Poor
audience.
kids asleep.
a loved one to be sworn in. I knew it took a couple extra days. I'll be honest, it's not how I had it planned. I want you to remember this moment. Take it in. Your loved ones are about to make history. My colleagues and I thank you for your understanding and your sacrifice. And we will work every day to make you proud. My most favorite spot in this building is not in this chamber. It's in the chamber they met before, in Statuary Hall. It's my favorite place to take people on a tour. You see, it's where Abraham Lincoln served. He was just a one-term congressman, sat in the back. I like to go to that spot, and I like to stand where he stood. I like to do it at night when people aren't around.
Okay.
I like to look over and look at the clock. Because that's the same clock and same view that Abraham Lincoln saw. I've watched Lincoln serve in the greatest challenge to our Constitution, the Civil War. I watched him take peoples who were rivals and put them together. I watched in a time that he did not know if a nation could sustain itself, but he dreamt of a future and built a railroad across the nation. I want us to all take a moment one time that you are here. I want you to stand there. I want you to look. And I want you to think. If America could do it then, we can do it now.
Yeah, he sure didn't want. He sure doesn't want you to go to the theater also that he attended. My wife didn't get that one at all. The theater that Lincoln attended.
yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
You know, Abraham Lincoln gave his life in service to this country. One of his most important observations about America applies today, as much as it did 160 years ago.
Brett, they don't want to. They don't want
He
that to
said
come
we are
out.
striving to maintain the government and institutions of our fathers and to transmit them to our children and our children's children's forever. My fellow Americans, That is still our mission today. This moment calls for restoring trust within our country and with each other. In that spirit, I will work with anyone and everyone who shares our passion to deliver a better future for the nation. I hope you'll join me. As a Congress, we can only operate if we cooperate.
Oh, get in line.
My door will be open. I'd like you to come by. I want you to see, as you walk down the hall, a large portrait of Lincoln. I want you to go into that conference room. And I want you to see another portrait. My members know of this. It's of Washington crossing the Delaware. You all know the story. It happened on Christmas, 1776. There was no iPhone to take a picture. People wonder when it was painted. It wasn't painted by someone who was there. It was painted in 1850 and 1851. He was an immigrant who lived in America, Emanuel Lentz. You know why he painted it? Because he knew America was more than a country. America was an idea. He went home to Germany, and he wanted Germany to have a revolution based upon the values and freedoms that we defend every day. His talent was art. So he believed if he painted this painting, he could inspire his countrymen to rise up for the idea of freedom. Well, many historians will tell you he didn't get it correct. They'll tell you Washington crossed on a Durham boat, but he paints it with Washington in a rowboat. You see 13 people, but only 12 faces. You see Washington standing up in a rowboat in the middle of winter, wearing a ceremonial uniform with his hand on his chest. He looks so stoic. You would look at that man, you'd say, I'd follow him anywhere. You probably believe that he never lost a battle. But history would tell us at that moment, at that time, he had only lost. We had never won. You see, that was the night of our first victory as a nation when we surprised the Hessians. But when you look at that painting, don't look at Washington. I want you to look at who's in the boat. You see, the second rower in the beret, he's Scottish. The person directly across from him in the green, rowing in the exact same cadence, is an African American. You come down right to the middle in the red, the person who's rowing the strongest is a woman. And in the very back is a Native American. I don't know from a historic fact if they were in the boat that night, but to this young immigrant who had lived in America, that's who he believed would be in the boat.
I do like this too, yeah.
The
No,
second to
I'm
last
good with
person
this.
is a farmer. He could be from Bakersfield, I'm not sure. His hand goes across his face. People will debate this part. But what I see is a hand of the 13th person nobody sees. You see, what I believe Emmanuel was saying is, here we are, battling for the creation of the idea of freedom. That every individual is equal, not a perfect nation, but striving to be a more perfect union. Having lost every battle against the greatest challenge with the strongest nation, having lost them all, but willing to do it on our holiest of nights, with a hand reached out and asking if you would join us. That's as true today as it was then. If we let everybody in the boat, if we row in the same cadence together, there is no obstacle this body can overcome for this nation. It is time for us to be the voice and worthy of their vote. Let me close with this. I may not know all of you, some of you are new, but I hope one thing is clear after this week. I never give up.
Very much one-sided standing ovation.
Well,
I make this promise. I'll never give up for you, the American people. And I will never give up on keeping our commitment to America. Our nation is worth fighting for. Our rights are worth fighting for. Our dreams are worth fighting for. Our future is worth fighting for. Therefore, with love for this country and charity for each other, let us now take our oath and be worthy of the office on which we are about to enter. God bless everybody in this chamber, and God bless America. Not so fast. I have to get sworn in first. Sit down. I am now ready to take the oath of office. I want to ask the Dean of the House, the Honorable Hal Rogers of Kentucky, one of my first mentors, to administer the oath of the office.
First, we want to offer a bipartisan congratulations to the gentleman from California. Now, will the Speaker designate raise his right hand? Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you're about to enter? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you. According to the President, the chair will swear in the members-elect en masse. The members-elect will rise. The chair will now administer the oath of the office.
All
members-elect will raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations. You are now members of the 118th Congress.
or do the debauchery or whatever other crazy crap that they do up there. And unless you're super old, you're probably going to go pass out and have somebody carry you upstairs. I think that concludes it.
Somebody has to conclude it, right? Don't we have to officially?
Oh yeah, they have to adjourn, I guess.
I don't know. I was expecting that. It was gavel. Sounds like a gavel.
So proud, Steve.
We're gonna gavel and recording.
Yeah, he's
Very
got a weak
quiet.
gavel.
It's a very weak gavel.
I would be like Thor gaveling.
He's still working on his gavel.
Yeah.
He's gonna be at home with the
All right, we got a
gavel.
little more business. I hope that was worth the wait. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
It is my humbled honor to be the first to address you from the floor of the People's House as Mr. Speaker.
Great. Next. Can you imagine if this is your
Mr.
job?
Speaker, as chair of the Republican Conference, I am directed by that conference to notify the House officially that the Republican members have selected as Majority Leader the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Steve Scalise.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar.
Mr. Speaker, as the chair of the Democratic Caucus, I have been directed to report to the House that the Democratic members have selected as Minority Leader the gentleman from New York, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Mr. Speaker, as chair of the Republican Conference, I am directed by that conference to notify the House officially that the Republican members have selected as Majority Whip the gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Tom Emmer.
Oh, so now they're going through the whips, majority, minority leaders. Yeah, I mean, like, it's so much showboating. This is like going to an honors convention, and that's all this is.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar.
Mr. Speaker, as chairman of the Democratic Caucus, I have been directed to report to the House that the Democratic members have selected as Minority Whip the distinguished gentlewoman from Massachusetts, the Honorable Catherine Clark.
God, she looks like a man.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Mr. Speaker, I offer a privileged resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the resolution.
House Resolution 1. Resolved that Cheryl L. Johnson of the state of Louisiana be and is hereby chosen Clerk of the House of Representatives. That Catherine Spindor of the Commonwealth of Virginia be and is hereby chosen Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives. And that Reverend Dr. Margaret Grun Kibben of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania be and is hereby chosen Chaplain of the House of Representatives.
The gentlewoman from New York.
Mr. Speaker, I yield to the gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar, for the purpose of offering an amendment.
Mr. Speaker, I have an amendment to the resolution, but before offering the amendment, I request that there be a division of the question on the resolution so that we may have a separate vote on the chaplain.
The question will be divided. The question is on agreeing to that portion of the resolution providing for the election of the chaplain.
Kathy is fire.
Those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. This portion of the resolution is agreed to, and without objection, the motion to consider is laid on the table. Now, if we could just have all votes like that. Don't blame me for hoping. The gentleman from California.
He's not wrong.
Mr. Speaker, I offer an amendment to the resolution offered by the gentlewoman from New York.
The clerk will report the amendment.
You just heard Kevin McCarthy's first speech officially now as
Yeah.
Speaker of the House. Good evening, or should I say good early morning, everyone.
Yeah, screw all that mess. I'm tired. I'm done. I watched enough. they've done their thing.
How much more are they doing?
I don't care. I saw, well, you can watch whatever you want, lady. You can watch to your heart's content. I'm done. I thought this was cool. I thought it was a cool little historic moment. I felt like it was worth watching. But right now they're signing people in. But look, if people don't want to talk about politics, I don't give a damn. Talk about politics. Why does it matter so much? What is somebody going to tell you? I voted for Trump, I voted for Biden, whatever. What are they going to tell you that you're going to have a problem with? You just disagree. Well, you know how much shit we disagree on? Sports, food, woof woof. All that stuff, man, screw that mess. Just talk the politics and be welcoming. Don't make it hostile, be welcoming. Get to really know people. That's what everybody should be doing in 2023. That's what I'm gonna do. Damn it. I love you no matter who you voted for. I don't know if there's any points, Troy. I think this was a freebie for everybody. You're welcome. My wife keeps talking away from the mic, and so I'm gonna just mute her.
I said maybe you should give people some points.
Oh, nope, muted her. Sorry y'all missed all of that. But, oh man, we'll probably see y'all on Monday. Go out and talk to somebody about some politics. Let me know how it went. I'm gonna do it. I might invite somebody that is completely different in my politics on. What do y'all think about that? Give a thumbs up if you think I should. It'll be one hell of a battle. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.